You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Well, guys, we've got lots of interesting news for you today. We're going to start off with some news about the hurricane from 3 days and 3 nights. Let's go ahead and take a look. Well, it starts off with this tweet thread right here. It says, Dead Center Dorian. The other day, Trump said it looks like this storm will hit dead center. Let's explore the odds that Dorian would make a dead center hit on Epstein Island and the Chinese Denmark ports in the Bahamas as a Cat 5 before turning northeast. We'll go ahead and take a look right here. This is exactly where it came. Went straight through the British Virgin Islands, which was right there on Jeffreys Island, scheduled to go up through here, directly between the Chinese and the Denmark ports. China and Denmark both have been strangely in the news lately due to President Trump and his regular antics, and then it is supposed to head up the coast like that. Now, number 2, Chinese container ports in the Bahamas. Would you be surprised to learn that the Chinese have been using our $500 billion annual trade deficit to buy up all the ports near America? Thanks, traitor politicians. There are 2 massive complexes in the Bahamas, dead center in Dorian's path. And right there, you can take a look at it, and that's exactly what the hurricane looks like, a big monster. Denmark and Chinese partnership in the Bahamas. Remember when Trump asked Denmark to sell us Greenland? Maersk is the largest company in Denmark. Maersk just happened to partner with Shanghai on the port in Freeport, Bahamas that just got a dead center hit from Dorian. Number 4, Maersk has a 7-pointed star for a logo. Nothing to see here. You probably recognize the 7-pointed star from Game of Thrones, also those handy Masonic badges worn by Chips and Harris County GHWB sheriffs. Plus, all the witches love this symbol. Even the Jordanian flag uses it. Let's take a look at this graphic a little closer right there. And you can see everything that he's talking about. Of course, it was also in Game of Thrones. Look at that. Now, number 5, Maersk, creepy tweet from August 12th, 2019. Nothing to see here. Maersk thought it was good corporate branding 3 weeks ago to post this creepy face with a comment about our reptilian brains. WTF. Triggered by Trump's Greenland comment, perhaps? Evergreen shipping containers? And there is the post. God, that is just a little bit unsettling. Very, very strange corporate branding there. Number 6, what are the odds? So Dorian just happened to hit dead center between the sketchy Chinese and Denmark ports just off our coast with a margin of error of less than 1 nautical mile. And yet it suddenly is beginning to turn northeast away from Florida. Watch the water, perhaps. There we go. Bring another one in. Gotta love it. And of course, it is a storm. Now, was Abaco Island a trafficking hub? Here's a 2015 article calling Abaco the Disneyland of the Bahamas. Gee, what a handy location for a quick trafficking trip from Broward County to pick up a few young tourists from a docked container ship. Marsh Harbor was wiped out by Hurricane Dorian. There it is right there. It does look like a nice, beautiful place to visit. Number 8, deep water submarine access. Everyone knows the water in the Bahamas is only about 25 feet deep in many places. However, right next to Freeport, the water depth is very deep. The trenches just offshore drop to thousands of feet very quickly. And there we can see from Google Maps, that is extremely deep right there. Number 9, watch the water. If dead center Dorian turns northeast and only creates heavy rain in the U.S., I must ask what we just witnessed. If patriots control the weather, we would not only risk collateral damage if the threat of rogue weapons was immense and no other option was available. Number 10, what about Harvey in August 2017? Let's say George H.W. Bush had underground nukes stored as a threat below refineries near his home in Austin. Can't bomb from above. What if we had to flood the entire city to save millions? 68 people died. Were 20 million saved? Was LV their payback? That would be Las Vegas, of course. Number 11, what about Florence in September of 2018? Did you know Florence made landfall on No Name Island in North Carolina with a dead center hit at the New Brunswick nuclear plant? Did we flood them out as well? Can't bomb a bunker underneath a nuclear plant. That storm also dissipated quickly. Now, right there, No Name Island. The island where landfall occurred just happened to be called No Name Island. What are the odds? There it is. And Florence storm track dead center hit on New Brunswick nuclear plant in September of 2018. That is pretty incredible. And he says, have a Corona light and relax. If we control the weather now, we controlled the weather in 2017. The best place to hide underground bunkers would be under things you can't bomb. That would be refineries, Harvey, nuclear plants, Florence, casinos, Las Vegas, airports, DIA, islands, Dorian. Many are missing the reference to Corona light. Go to qmap.pub, do a keyword search for the phrase Corona light, or it's just Corona, and see what Q says about it. So you know I didn't make this up after the fact. I posted the first reference to a direct hit on the Chinese port in Freeport back on August 29th, Thursday, when the storm was 500 miles away. On August 31st, Saturday, I posted the north turn and weakening would occur after the destruction of Freeport. And he posts the pictures of his tweets on that day. Watch the water. Dorian passed directly over. Jeffrey's Torture Island. Will it hit the Chinese port or turn north harmlessly? Dorian storm track over the island, just missed Puerto Rico, takes out Chinese port in Freeport, Bahamas, turns north along coast, weakens dramatically. Who controls Corona? Well, let's go ahead and pull up qmap.pub and we'll take a look to see what he says about Corona. Well, and unfortunately, qmap.pub is down, so I will have to follow up on that later. But the things that 3 Days and 3 Nights talks about here in this post, I think they sound like they could be pretty plausible. All right, I've actually gone to QAnonPosts.io, and looks like on August 30th, we had several posts which show Corona task route, Corona now offline, Corona new control, Corona now offline, Corona now offline, blind eyes in the sky, shall we play a game? So it seems like this has something to do with some type of missile system, which is what he's referring to in the posts, if there were missiles underneath each of those spots where the storms went through. And then we also had this post here, seals are wonderful creatures, heard they work fast at capturing their prey, silence is golden, Corona offline, deactivated, games are fun. So I like I said earlier, I do think that the stuff that 3 Days, 3 Nights said in these tweets is pretty plausible. It's neat to think about. Could these storm systems be controlled by us, by the good guys, designed specifically to take these cabal weapon systems offline? What do you guys think? All right, next, guys, I just wanted to go ahead and let everybody know that Sean Corticon, that would be at Corticon, was in a tragic car accident. He said, I almost died, had a very bad accident, broke my back, shattered my spleen, broke my ribs, crushed my lungs, and you can see my face. And I totaled my brand new truck and received a massive blood transfusion. So he is definitely looking worse for the wear, but at least he's alive. He is in intensive care, I've been told. I just want to tell everybody to keep their thoughts and prayers with Sean, and hopefully everything is going to be okay. If you do want to donate, I'm pretty certain this is going to be a major financial hit on him. But if you go to his website, SeanCorticon.com, then you can donate with the PayPal link at the bottom of the page. Sean, I hope you pull through very, very quickly, sir. All right, next, another tweet from my friend Jeffrey Peterson, and he notes that Android 10 is the first Android version named with a number instead of a letter. And guess what the last letter was that they used? That's right, the letter P. That would mean that this should be Android version Q, or, it would be a dessert or something named with a Q, but they just completely skipped it altogether. Now it is just Android 10. Very strange. You got to wonder why they decided not to use the letter system after getting all the way through the alphabet past the P's. Weird. All right, next, on to the stories for today. First story out of the Gateway Pundit, a second FBI operative was planted inside Trump's White House after the first operative left the bureau in 2017. Now, Trump attorney Jay Sekulow posted a tweet on Monday alleging fired FBI Director James Comey may have colluded with the Clinton lawyers to circumvent federal law. Look at that. Did Comey's FBI collude with Clinton's lawyers to circumvent federal law? We have the documents that tell the story. Very, very interesting. That's from the ACLJ. That's Jay Sekulow's organization. And now Sekulow also reported on the second FBI operative. That would be Jordan Ray Kelly. They replaced Comey spy Anthony Ferrante, who was placed inside White House to spy for FBI agents against the Trump administration. FBI operative Jordan Ray Kelly took over for Ferrante and gave him access inside the Trump White House after he left government to work for BuzzFeed. Now, directly from the ACLJ report. What's also disturbing is that according to the same report, between the election and April of 2017, when Ferrante finally left the White House, the Trump NSC division supervisor was not allowed to get rid of Ferrante. In other words, Comey tried to ensure that the White House had no authority to remove him. Somehow, the director of the FBI superseded the authority of the President of the United States, implanting an unremovable agent. To make matters worse, the reports indicate that Ferrante was replaced in the White House by another FBI official, Jordan Ray Kelly, who signed security logs for Ferrante to enter the White House while he was contracted by BuzzFeed. Kelly left the White House last year and also joined FTI Consulting, the same firm Ferrante works for. This is too big to be ignored. James Comey is in big trouble. This behavior cannot be allowed in a constitutional republic. We need to get to the bottom of this, but we don't know what information this spy was passing along. The American people deserve to know the truth, and today we're taking legal action to find out. We've just submitted FOIA requests to the FBI and the DOJ demanding all records, including emails, memorandums, briefs, electronic messages, etc., pertaining to this spy, Anthony Ferrante's time within the White House and beyond. Specifically, we are requesting records and emails between or about Comey and Ferrante and others. We are also demanding records related to this spying effort and what we call Comey's circle of corruption. These are Comey's closest advisors, including FBI General Counsel James Baker, Deputy Director and Acting Director Andrew McCabe, Deputy Assistant Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok, McCabe's Deputy Counsel Lisa Page, and Comey's Chief of Staff James Rubicki, David Bowditch with the Director's Office of the DO, Michael Steinbach, Director's Office, Tricia Anderson, OGC, EW Bill Priestap, Counterintelligence Division, and Jonathan Moffa, also with the Counterintelligence Division. Finally, we are requesting all of James Comey's emails from April 1st, 2016 to May 31st, 2017. We will find out exactly what Comey was up to and bring it to light. Jordan Ray Kelly, as pictured right here, currently works for FTI Consulting with Anthony Ferrante. Well, what an incredible story. To think that even after they got that spy out of the White House, even though he was still granted access to the White House, there was somebody else that was still in there colluding with him, helping James Comey and him get information passed back and forth, and for him to spy on the president. We had two FBI spies spying on the president. You know, a lot of people over the last several months have said to me, what's up with Wray? Christopher Wray is deep state. He hasn't done anything. Christopher Wray is not helping. He is stonewalling. You guys, you have to realize that in the time that Christopher Wray has been there, he has visited absolutely every single FBI field office. And in the time that he's visited each of them, there have been leadership turnovers. He has gotten rid of holdovers from the last administration, people who were looking to subvert President Trump's administration. The FBI has been cleaned up, guys, and that is exactly what Christopher Wray was set to do. He was given a job, and he has fulfilled it faithfully, as to the best of my knowledge. Now, I do want to say that I do have a source within the FBI, and I have been told that the FBI is not happy about what happened under the last administration and under the watch of James Comey. These people that are currently in the FBI are out for blood when it comes to one particular person. You guys know who she is. I'm not going to say her name out loud until we get some more information, but they know. They know exactly what she got away with, and they know exactly what they are not willing to allow her to get away with anymore in the future. She will go down because these guys want their reputation back. This is some serious business. All right, big news. Did Ilhan Omar's estranged partner and father of her 3 children just admit that she married her brother to defraud U.S. immigration? Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is under heavy fire from the conservative media over her many scandals, including marrying her own brother to defraud U.S. immigration, tax fraud, identity fraud, and more recently, an affair with a married man. not sending us their best. According to Powerline blog, Ilhan Omar is threatening her estranged partner and father of her 3 children, Ahmed Hersi, that he is in trouble if the truth about her were to ever come to light. Powerline blog has many sources in the Somali community in Minnesota, and the Somalis talking to reporters are also being threatened with doxing by Ilhan Omar's camp. It also appears that Omar's estranged partner and baby daddy, Ahmed Hersi, admitted that Ilhan indeed married her own brother, Ahmed Elmi, to defraud U.S. immigration, according to Somali sources who spoke to Powerline. Now, this is according to Powerline. In the past 3 weeks, I have circled back to interview sources whom I have found to be highly reliable in the Omar saga. They open a window onto the scandals from the perspective of Ahmed Hersi, her longtime partner and the father of her 3 children. According to sources, Hersi is telling friends that he will not go to jail for Omar, that while Omar did indeed marry her brother Ahmed Elmi for fraudulent purposes, Hersi did not know at the time that she had married Elmi, that Omar is threatening Hersi he would be in big trouble along with her if the truth were to come out, that Omar has asked him to state publicly that all is well with their marriage even though it is completely done and finished, and that in fact they are living apart and have been divorced under Islamic law although they remain legally married. Having humiliated Ahmed Hersi by her affair with Tim Minette, Omar now wants Hersi to perform public relations services for her to suppress the scandal. That is cold. Ilhan Omar refuses to answer questions about her fraudulent marriage to her own brother and accuses anyone asking questions of bigotry and Islamophobia. Ilhan Omar refuses to answer any questions about her love affair with a married man, even though her campaign paid him over $200,000 while he was married and her lover. Why is Ilhan Omar still in Congress? Where is the investigation into her many scandals? Look at this. Tom Fitton asking about it. Ilhan Omar feels the heat. Husband confirms scandal. Wow. Look at this. Tom Fitton also says, expel Ilhan Omar from the House. Substantial evidence that Omar did marry her brother and committed marriage, tax, immigration, and other crimes. Judicial Watch steps up like usual and demands action from House Ethics Committee. Ilhan Omar is in big trouble. Any one of these things on their own would put her into a very, very bad position, could get her expelled from Congress. But the totality of all of them, each of these things together, when you put them up and add them into one giant conspiracy, she is looking at probably even getting deported from the United States because immigration fraud is no joke. I sincerely hope that Judicial Watch is able to work with the Justice Department to get this necessary information out to the public and to the people in Congress who it's actually going to matter to. We need to have her brought up on more than just ethics charges. She needs to be brought up on federal charges. All right, guys, and finally, a George Soros-funded St. Louis Circuit attorney named Kim Gardner is refusing to charge a killer of a 7-year-old child, despite the suspect's confessions. Now, guys, I've reported on attorney Kim Gardner here, State Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner. This is just a travesty of justice right here. Far-left billionaire George Soros has been systematically targeting district attorney races throughout the United States. Several of his candidates have already won. His goal is to create havoc in different communities. In St. Louis City, far-left lunatic Kim Gardner took money from Soros in her race for St. Louis Circuit Attorney. A Soros-funded PAC even released an ad in support of this far-left and unqualified nutcase. Kim Gardner won her election and is wreaking havoc on the City of St. Louis Circuit Attorney's office. Kim Gardner is so intolerable that 24 attorneys and more than 1/3 of the trial lawyers left the office when she was hired, and this is a Democrat-dominated office. In early January, St. Louis police arrested a drug dealer in possession of over 1,000 highly addictive opiate pills and more than $30,000 in cash. The St. Louis police officers also got a confession from their suspect, but when investigators brought their evidence to Gardner City Attorney's office in downtown St. Louis, the attorneys refused to press charges against the dealer and handed the police report back to the officers. The entire event was even captured on video. Gardner refused to charge the drug kingpin because the detectives involved were on her police exclusion list. Kim Gardner created a list of originally 28 police officers, but now the list is over 50 police police officers, who she will not accept their work because she claims they are racists. Last week, a suspect was arrested in the fatal shooting of a 7-year-old child, Xavier Usanga, in North St. Louis last Monday evening. According to KSDK, Usanga was shot and killed while playing outside of his Hyde Park home on Monday, according to St. Louis Metro Police Chief John Hayden. An 18-year-old man standing nearby was injured in the backyard of the Usanga's home in the 3500 block of North 14th Street just after 5 p.m. on Monday evening. The suspect confessed to the shooting that killed the 7-year-old Usanga, but when they brought their confession and evidence to the St. Louis City Circuit's attorney's office, Kim Gardner threw it out. Gardner said based on current evidence, she was not able to determine who was responsible for the child's death. Again, the suspect confessed to the crime, but that was not enough for this radical lunatic in the circuit attorney's office. Now, this is just an absolutely disgusting case. City Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner refusing to prosecute a man who admitted to killing this poor 7-year-old child. What do you guys think George Soros's MO is here in these urban areas? Why would he want to get these city attorneys and these district attorneys on his side? Is it simply just to wreak havoc? Does he want them to come into office and refuse to prosecute on the bounds that these police officers are doing their job too well? I never thought that I would see a world where a prosecutor would refuse to prosecute when given such a preponderance of evidence. The case about the drug dealer was shocking enough, but this new case about a man admitting to killing a child and the city attorney just absolutely refusing to do anything. It's going to get to the point in St. Louis where all of the police officers are going to be on her list, and she's going to refuse to actually prosecute any cases that any of them bring her. Now, the crazy thing about this is the police officers that are on this list are not uniquely one particular race. It spans a number of races, and I don't understand how she is making this decision. So that's what leads me to believe that she is just simply here to do a job for George Soros, and she has no intention of doing anything that will benefit the people and the children of St. Louis. All right, guys, that's all that I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.